Morning and good Chodesh. Today is Friday, the 30th day of Nisan, Rosh Chodesh year. And a reminder again, today is the last day we can make the bracha on the trees. When we see a tree blossoming, it is a mitzvah, a blessing that we can do only one time a year. So today is the last day. Go out there. You can find the link to the blessing that we say in the description. And let's begin the shir with tzedakah, gedela tzedakah, shemekareves asageula. And we continue today in chapter 43. And today we're talking about the two levels of love of God. Yesterday we spoke about the two levels of fear of God. And again, as we explained in the previous lessons, to serve Hashem properly, you need to do the Torah mitzvahs, they need to have feelings. And the feelings of fear and love of Hashem, and we explained why we need both. And that's what gets the mitzvah to soar up high. The mitzvahs that we do, the Torah that we study, we ourselves are being elevated. So yesterday we spoke about the two levels of fear. There's fear of Hashem that comes as a result of understanding, contemplating the greatness of the world, seeing God's work that gets you to feel awe and the fear of Hashem. And then there is the higher level of fear that comes after the preparation of the lower level of fear, and after studying the Torah and completely nullifying ourselves to Hashem, and we sense the higher level of fear, meaning that fearing God Himself, not what God does, not the creation, not just to understand, to appreciate the greatness of Hashem Himself, that the whole world is as if it doesn't exist, it does not have any significance at all. So the Alter Rebbe goes on now to explain that in loving God is also two levels of love. He begins with the higher level. The higher level is called Ahava Rabbah, the great love. And this is something that a person cannot reach on his own to reach to that level of love. The lower level of love is something when you contemplate in the greatness of Hashem, you want and you appreciate what is good. A person always likes to have pleasure. And when you appreciate that there is something that is really good, then you want it. You have love, you have a desire to get it. That is called an avat olam, the eternal love, or it's called the olam, means also the world. It is a love that comes as a result of appreciating godliness within the world. And this is something that you want. This is something you desire. That's the lower level of love. The higher level of love is Ahava Rabbah, the great love, and that is something that is only after a person is working on himself and elevating himself to the point of attaining the level of fear of God to the fullest extent. Then he can receive as a gift from above the higher level of love. Now, what does that mean? So to use it for an example, let's say you didn't see your father or your mother in a long time, and you have a very strong desire to see them. You hear and you love them. Your desire. You have a very powerful desire, passionate desire. You want to come. You want to be connected with your father. You want to see them. This is a love that you're looking, you don't have it yet. You're trying to get it. And then your father actually came and you're together, now you have it. That is the love that you have. It's called Ava B'Ta'anugim, the love in delight that you got something, you achieved something, you received something that you really, really want. in the context of the love to Hashem. There is the love that it's called like a burning fire, the passionate love that you want to achieve something. And this is something which is based on your understanding in the end of the day, because it's something that you appreciate, you know that this is good. And this is something you work on to achieve. That's called the lower level of love. The higher level of love is something that a person receives. It's, again, this is very, very unique people, and very high level people, tzaddikim, who can receive this level of love after achieving their own perfection in fear of Hashem. They're able to achieve this level of the higher level of love, to receive it as a gift. So let's see it inside. The Alter Rebbe says the Alter Rebbe, והנה, באהבה יש גם כן שתי מדרגות, אהבה רבה ואהבה סולם. Now in love too, there are two grades, Ahava Rabba and Ahava Selam. Ahava Rabba is a love of delight and ecstasy. Ahava Rabba hi Ahava b'ta'anugi. An ecstasy, a love of God which delights in Him. There is no other desire or goal present, such as the desire to cleave to Him, to expire in one's yearning for Him. The love itself is comprised purely of delight in Him and cleaving to Him. And this level of love, it is a fiery flame that rises of itself. Man does not create or kindle this love within himself, rather it comes forth spontaneously. It is as a gift from above. And it comes from above by way of a gift. But it doesn't come to just anybody. It comes to a person that he prepared himself in the level of fear, as we learned yesterday. The fear, the higher level of fear, is complete nullification to Hashem. And this is Lamishu Shalom Be'ira. This is to he who is perfect in fear. Kanoida al Maimer Azal, Da'ake shel ish lechazer achar isha, she'av nikres ish v'zocha k'meshekosov zocha chastei. So here the Alter Rebbe says also an interesting point. He brings support from verses in the Torah that there is certain love, and this level of love is something that is given after the person is perfect in fear. And he explains, because there is a statement in the Talmud that says that it is the way of man to search for the woman. Now, to explain this, the man represents chesed, kindness, and the woman represents gevura, which is judgment, restriction, which to understand it more, what does it mean? Why is man kindness and woman restriction? Both kindness and restriction is about giving. The difference is kindness, the person gives because he wants to give. It's about the person, it's about him, not about the recipient. It's about a giver. The gevura gives because the gevura is concerned with the recipient. And this is the difference between the male giving and the female giving. The male is about himself. He wants to give. He wants to show that he gave. He feels good that he gave. The woman is concerned with the recipient, and it wants the recipient to receive each person what it needs. So the concept of male represents the chesed, the giving, which is also the concept of the love, and the concept of the woman, the feminine concept, is connected with the recipient, with giving to which is the concept of fear, the concept of restriction and judgment. Here, when the Talmud says that the male seeks after the the woman, the Alter Rebbe brings the interpretation in a way to teach us that the male, meaning the love, comes after the woman, meaning after you're perfect in the level of woman, in the level of fear of Hashem, you receive the male part, which is the gift of love that God gives that person to be able to achieve that level of love and delight in the greatest level of Hashem. So that's when it says, it's known from the saying of our rabbis of blessed memory, it is the way of the man to search for the woman. And in spiritual terms, love is called man or male. As it is written, Zocha Chastoi. Zocha Chastoi means he remembered his kindness. He remembered his love and kindness. The word Zachar, which means remembered, also can be read as Zachar, which means male, connecting the concept of male to the concept of loving kindness. Ve'isha Yiras Hashem. There's another verse that says, a woman symbolizes fear of God, kanoida, as is known. So it says, Alter Rebbe, this is the higher level of love that you receive as a gift from above. But in order to receive the gift, you must have a complete, to reach the complete level of fear of Hashem, which is the nullification to God. Without the prerequisite of fear, it is impossible to attain the level of Ahava Rabba, the great love. Because this love originates from the realm of Atzilus. Atzilus is the highest spiritual world among the four worlds, which godliness is completely revealed there. The Leistaman Kitzutz Apirut Chas v'Shalom, wherein there is no sundering or separateness, God forbid. Everything is connected with the godliness. Now says the Alter Rebbe, what is the next level? The lower level of love is called Ahava Seilam. Ahava Seilam, Hiabo me'atvuna v'das b'gdulas Hashem, ein seif baruch hu, amimale kol almin, b'seif kol almin. Ahava Seilam, however, the second and lower level of love, is that which comes from the understanding and knowledge of the greatness of God, blessed Ein Sof, who fills all worlds, meaning it animates them with a permeating mode of vitality, which is limited and tailored to the capacity of each creature, and encompasses all worlds, meaning animating them with a vitality which transcends them, not being limited by the worlds and created being it animates. So this is the contemplation of this great level of godliness which animates the world and encompasses the worlds. And then again, v'kulei kamei kalei mamish chashiv. And again, contemplating on the fact that before whom everything is accounted as nothing at all. Ukebitul dibor echad benefesh hamaskeles beoido v'machshavta oy b'chemdas alev kanis kalain. Like the nullity of one utterance within the intelligent soul, while it is still in its thought or in the desire of the heart, as has been explained earlier. Again, this is chapter 20, 21. We explained the analogy of the speech, how one uttered word has no significance, completely insignificance, completely nullified to the source of speech, which the source of speech goes in different levels. It is the thoughts, it is the intellectual soul, and then desire of the heart, which leads to the ultimately to the word being uttered. So that word has completely no significance. It's the same thing. You think about the entire creation, the entire universe and all the galaxies and everything in the physical world and the spiritual world, they are all nothing but a little bit like an uttered word in compared to the essence of God. As a result of such contemplation, the attribute of love, which is in the soul, will, as a matter of course, divest itself of its garments, which it has previously worn. What does it mean? It says the soul, the love, wears its garment. Garment meaning that it's you have the attribute of love, which is you love things what you understand, what makes you, by understanding you desire them. So when your love wears garments of materialistic things, then that's where it's going. But if you divest itself from those materialistic things and you realize there's something greater, something deeper, something more worthy of loving through this meditation and contemplation, then you reach that level of the lower level of love, meaning loving Hashem. You realize Hashem is everything, and this is what is worthy of loving, and this is what is worthy of desiring to be with God. And that is why the person reaches that level of love. The Hainu, which means meaning it will not clothe itself in anything of pleasure or enjoyment, whether physical or spiritual, to love it. And will not desire anything whatsoever in the world other than God alone, meaning even spiritual things you don't want. You want God alone, the source of the vitality of all enjoyments. Because they all are nullified in reality and are accounted as nothing at all compared with Him. There being no manner of comparison or similitude between them, God forbid, between all worldly pleasures and God. You cannot compare them at all. The source of the vitality of all pleasures. Just as there is no comparison between that which is absolutely naught and nothing and everlasting life. So if you picture this, you picture the world that is nothing at all. I mean, to use an analogy, if you take $1 compared to if a person has trillions and trillions of dollars, take $1. This dollar has a value. It's like nothing, but still has a value because the trillions is a compilation and collection of singles, many singles. But if you have take $1, compare it to a theoretical limitless ability of having dollars. Let's say you have a theory, speaking in terms of printing dollars, let's say, without going into the financial and economics of it. But ideally, if you have a concept of limitless money and you have $1, it really has no value. You cannot compare this at all. But if you want to take it to the next step, what is $0 compared to limitless? That is really nothing. So everything that we see and we can think of, the greatness of the vast creation, from the Hashem's perspective, it's like a zero, because nothing is added in Hashem. Again, it's a deep concept, but the more you think about it, the more you want to achieve the pleasure of being with Hashem himself. And that is the love that a person has by working and understanding the greatness of Hashem. As it is written, whom have I in heaven to love other than God? The verse goes on to say, and there is nothing upon earth that I desire with you. I don't desire anything with you. I just want you. The next verse continues, my flesh and my heart yearns for you, rock of my heart. As the various levels of love a Jew may attain by contemplating God's greatness. This will be explained later. The Rebbe concludes and says that this would be easily achieved when a person has such a temperament of desiring things, and he has a passionate nature. So it's easier to achieve, because when you have this nature of wanting things and desiring things and passionate about things, and you contemplate the greatness of Hashem, then you can shift and divest yourself from the materialistic desires, and you make the leap and you transfer to the spiritual desires. But what about a person who does not have this kind of nature, this kind of temperament? Says Dal Rebbe, him too, by contemplating the greatness of Hashem, he can achieve such a level, and this he will explain elsewhere. Also, he whose soul's attribute of love is not vested at all in any physical or spiritual enjoyment, nevertheless, says the Alter Rebbe, yochel lehaliv nafshe kerish beyesh v'shaleves azo v'lav oile hashamayma. Nevertheless, he is able to kindle his soul with burning coals and an intense fire and a flame that soars heavenward. How? This is by contemplating the above mentioned matters, as shall be explained later on. So this is the end of today's shir. Wishing you all a good Chodesh and a good Shabbos, and God willing, we'll see you on Sunday.